Statesville continues to grow. We have added Mitsubishi on Folger Drive. So what does that mean? That means great deals on a new make and model in Statesville, but it also means Ford Pre-Owned is moved right on Gateway Crossing Drive beside the Ford and Lincoln new car showrooms. So come see us today, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln, Pre-Owned Vehicles, Gateway Crossing Drive.
RandyMarionFord.com.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Cloudy skies through the remainder of the evening. The overnight low is going to be a little bit chillier tonight. We'll get down around 45 degrees. Saturday is Veterans Day, and we'll have cloudy skies and a high temperature getting up near 59 degrees, so make sure you get out there and enjoy the day. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We are back on the scoreboard. WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. Video live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and our website, WSICnews.com. Lots to get to today. Panthers played last night, and if you want to talk about that, you could always call me up, 704-873-1400 or 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. A lot of things going on locally last night. We had the Panthers playing in the NFL. We had North Iredell soccer team participating in the playoffs for the 3A conference. And, well, let's start with the high school level, because not only did we have a game last night that we want to cover, we also want to talk about football coming up today. But let's start with yesterday. Yesterday, North Iredell, their soccer team took on Inca Village High School, also known as Inca High, for a chance to go to the Final Four in the state championships. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. North Iredell falling 5-0 in that game, and Inca moves on to the Final Four. Great season for North Iredell. I want to read some of the stats here, talk about some of the team leaders here. This according to Max Preps. And we all know, as I talk about, Max Preps can be a little frustrating. Sometimes the stats aren't correct. So this all according to Max Preps. First of all, senior Garrett Chase led the team in goals, scoring 21 on the year in 14 games played. Also racking up 5 assists on the year. And their assist leader was, well, it was a junior by the name of Luis Perez. Luis Perez had 18 assists in only 12 games played, leading the team in that category. Congratulations to a great season. I know we say that, and you might think, but we lost. We didn't win a championship. It's still a great series. It's a great season. In order to go to the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs in the 4th round, you have to have a pretty coercive unit there, and they did a good job. Like I had talked about earlier, they started the year 0-5. 0-5, and then they went 10-5, or I'm sorry, 15-5 to end the season. 15-10 on the year. My numbers are getting a little mixed up. They made the playoffs, not a top seed. 2 seed got eliminated before they had to play them. A little bit of luck on their side. They beat the worst teams, and they made it to the 4th round of the playoffs. Unfortunately, that was where it ended. More high school sports coming up tonight. Statesville High School is in the playoffs for football. They will be traveling to Crest High School. That game at 7:30. Crest is going to be a tough one because, well, they are the 1 seed, and they are undefeated. And the last time Statesville played an undefeated team. That was at the end of their season. At the end of their regular season, they took on Hickory. They lost in that one, and they also lost to Lake Norman early in the season, who ended up with one loss on the year. So Statesville not faring all that great against teams that are better than them, but it's the playoffs. One game is all you need. Turnover here, a stop there, and all of a sudden you're up 14 points, and hey, you're traveling in the right direction. So anything can happen in this one. Don't count out Statesville just because they're the lower seed going up against an undefeated 1 seed. They're still going to have a really good shot here behind a running game that features a 1,000-yard rusher in McKayum Davis. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. He had over 1,000 yards this year, carrying the load for Statesville Greyhounds. And the quarterback, senior Trey Turner, had a pretty decent year himself, not lighting anything on fire. 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, just over a 50% completion percentage for 1,200 yards. That's the team that's going to try to take down the 1 seed in the playoffs. They are in the 3A Western Foothills, and they're trucking along. So good luck to Statesville tonight. Also, the Mooresville Blue Devils will be in action. They are a 3 seed in the 4A conference, meaning, and this is slightly important, being the 3 seed, they have number 1, home field advantage, which is massively big. But number 2, they will not be an away team unless the 2 seed gets all the way to the final or to the 4th round in their side of the Western Conference. Now, the 1 seed, Weddington, they would only play them if they get to the Final 4. So Mooresville has some home games coming up in their future. If they can keep winning, keep this going for the playoffs. They still haven't lost yet this year. And later on tonight, they will be taking out Mount Tabor. Mount Tabor went 7-4 on the year. No matchup against anybody really worth noting for Mooresville. They play some pretty different schedules. But that game, Mooresville and Mount Tabor, the Spartans of Mount Tabor. And speaking of Spartans, it's Michigan State, but we will be talking about the Wolverines and Michigan, what's going on over there. Anyway, Mount Tabor against Mooresville. They'll be in Mooresville, home game for the Blue Devils. Round number 2 of the football playoffs in 4A. So good luck to all of those teams. And for Mooresville, well, they're being carried by a couple of players there. Number 1, they have a very solid running game, carried by none other than a senior by the name of, let's see if this pulls up, A.J. Baker. He's been the one really running the show there, over 100 carries on the year, splitting time kind of, but getting more of the carries with Eric Heel. He's a junior. The 2 of them combining for over 1,200 yards rushing this year, and the team as a whole getting over 2,000 rush yards. That's pretty big in the grand scheme of things. And not to mention their quarterback, starting quarterback is a sophomore, Brody Norman. Man, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,600 passing yards. He has had a very good season. And that's the team that they'll trot out there trying to move into the 3rd round of the playoffs. As we move into this break, we're going to come back and talk about the Panthers. It's going to happen. I'm not teasing it. I'm not making you wait. We're going to talk about what we saw last night, and it's not pretty. And I don't know how we're going to shake down out of this season. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. We're back after this.
More of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Santa's coming to town. Come out to Birkdale Village from 2 to 7 p.m. next Saturday, the 18th. Activity Row, Birkdale on Ice, Beer Garden, dance performances, and the tree lighting parade. Dance away the end of the night with live music. Saturday, November 18th. The fun begins at 2 p.m. and the tree lighting ceremony starts at 6. For more info, visit birkdalevillage.com. Love bingo? $1 bingos this Friday starting at 1:30 at the Iredale Senior Center. That's at 344 East Front Street. Bring $1 and your own snacks to play. $1 bingo this Friday, 1:30 to 3:30, Iredale Senior Center. Ever wanted to witness a time capsule installation? Huntersville is having a special time capsule installation December 2nd at Veterans Park during their Huntersville Christmas celebration. I wonder what will be in the time capsule. Make plans to attend now. Visit huntersville.org for more info. December 2nd, a special time capsule installation in Huntersville. Singer-songwriter Mitch Rossell is coming to Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. You may know Mitch from America's Got Talent or from Garth Brooks' 2022 Stadium Tour. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Country music artist Mitch Rossell this Saturday. Doors open at 7 p.m. kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. Jousting nights, mermaids, fairies, dragons, oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Cloudy skies through the remainder of the evening. The overnight low is going to be a little bit chillier tonight. We'll get down around 45 degrees. Saturday is Veterans Day, and we'll have cloudy skies and a high temperature getting up near 59 degrees, so make sure you get out there and enjoy the day. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
In life, we plan for many important things. Weddings, our children's education, retirement. A celebration of life is really no different. Planning and paying for your life celebration in advance will give you and your family valuable peace of mind. We'll help you take care of every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Bunch Johnson Funeral Home. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
Talk sports with Joe Berg. Call 844-STUDIO-4. It's the Scoreboard on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, you are back here on the Scoreboard. WSIC 105.9 100.7 FM. We're gonna talk Panthers. I'm not gonna shy away from what we have to talk about today, and what we have to talk about is one of the most abysmal Panthers teams that has ever been trotted out there on a Sunday. In this case, a Thursday. But boy, oh boy. So the Panthers lose to the Bears by a final score of 16-13. The only touchdown in the game being a 79-yard punt return by Smith Marset. What else can I say? We've talked about the offense and how they need to step it up and they have to figure it out. We've talked about the defense being good, and they showed it yet again. I don't know if anybody ever watches this on stream or listens on the radio more often, but I have to sit down for this one. Usually I stand up when I talk to you guys, but for this, I really need to sit down and just say, what are we doing? This is quickly spiraling. We've now lost to the Bears, one of the worst teams in the NFL. As of right now, The number 1 overall pick in the draft belongs to the Chicago Bears. Why does it belong to the Bears, you might ask? Well, because Carolina Panthers are the worst team in the NFL. If Carolina and Arizona finish 1-16 on the entire season, Carolina will get the number 1 overall pick. Why? Because of the strength of schedule. I don't know if Frank Reich is going to survive this. And I know we talked about Tepper and what his role in getting Bryce Young is. And we talked about Scott Fitterer, the GM of the team, and what his role was. And we've heard the press conference from head coach Frank Reich about how frustrating it is for him to be in meetings with David Tepper, the owner. And it all boils down to one thing, and I think it's something that really hasn't been confirmed, but it's been touched so much, just like talking about it without directly saying it. Frank Reich did not want Bryce Young. That's what this boils down to. And I know there's a little bit of a difference between the Texans season and the Panthers season. But the Texans are a team that were really bad last year. Not as bad as, worse actually than what the Panthers were. Finishing 3-13-1 on the season. The final win they got kept them from having the number 1 overall pick. So if you really want to think about this, it's pretty crazy that the Houston Texans winning the final game of the 2022-2023 season is what caused the Panthers to be able to trade for the number 1 overall pick to go get Bryce Young and make their coach upset and GM upset. Not saying that's what this boils down to, but you just got to look at how these things line up. Houston is significantly better than the Panthers right now. And I think anybody with an eyeball would tell you that C.J. Stroud looks like the superior quarterback to Bryce Young. The weapons are different, but I'm not going to sit here and say that the Texans have astronomically better weapons than the Panthers, because they don't. They have some young players there who are flashy, but they're not great. They're not good. They're not what they could be. They're still pretty raw. Most of the Panthers' offense consists of old guys and a second-round draft pick that really hasn't shown that much, and an offensive line that is causing Bryce to be one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. And I watched some of this game. It was a tough game to watch. But what I noticed is Bryce Young and his scrambling. His pocket awareness seems a little bit off, because there were a couple of times during that game where the pocket was collapsing around him and he went to scramble, but he scrambled right into a defender. The pocket awareness is not there. And I think we're starting to see the effects of Bryce playing behind a terrible offensive line and a terrible offense. He's starting to unravel and play a little less disciplined football. He had a beautiful 40-yard pass in the game. Cool, whatever. Most of the game, he didn't look poised. He didn't look ready. Everything looked rushed. This is how you destroy a quarterback. And I don't know if C.J. Stroud would have been better, because the Panthers as a team, the offense is not good at all. The defense, pretty good. It's the reason the Panthers haven't been blown out every single game this year. But would C.J. Stroud change the way the offense is doing this year? I don't think so. Comes down to coaching. And like I said at the beginning of this segment, I don't think we get through this season with Frank Reich as the head coach. the worse things get, the more the losses pile up, the more I think we're going to have a new head coach, maybe in the middle of the year. Look, the schedule is not getting any easier. Next week, the Panthers have to play the Cowboys. After that, a rejuvenated Titans team with a new starter in Will Levis. Then a few conference games, or division games, which, okay, like they're toss-ups, but the division looks significantly better than the Panthers right now. And the only other non-division games besides the next two, Cowboys-Titans, is the Packers and the Jaguars. Packers aren't a good team either. I could see them competing in that one. The Jaguars are going to the playoffs. Jaguars might make a deep run in the playoffs this year. But it's not going to get better for the Panthers this season. I don't know how they took such a big step back by going out and getting a guy who they think is the franchise quarterback. They took a massive step back this year. The offense is dead. 704-873-1400. Call in, let me know what you think about the Panthers this year because, man, it's sad. And let's play hypothetical real quick. This was something that I was thinking about as I go to take a quick sip of water. Excuse me. Let's say the Panthers did not trade for the number 1 overall pick. Let's say they stuck with Sam Darnold or brought back Teddy Bridgewater or somebody under center, anybody. And they were still this bad this year. The Panthers would be in prime spot to get one of the franchise quarterbacks that's coming out in the draft this year. Caleb Williams, thought to be one of the most polished quarterback prospects since we got Trevor Lawrence out of the draft. Drake May, also a very polished quarterback who's ready to play. Bo Nix is going to be a good one. Phoenix Copley is going to be a good one. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this year's draft who are going to go in the first round. And there were a lot last year. You had Stroud, you had Young, you had Anthony Richardson, Will Levis late in the draft. Did the Panthers jump the gun? Could they have used that? I think they were the 8th overall pick at the time to get a solid piece elsewhere, maybe a wide receiver, something to help the offense. Instead, they traded a ton of assets, including their number 1 wide receiver, including their first-round pick this year, to go get a guy who wasn't polished, he wasn't ready to go. His draft stock, like 2, 3, 4 weeks before the draft, all you were hearing was Frank Reich really loves C.J. Stroud. It looks like the Panthers are going with Stroud. And then all of a sudden, you stopped hearing that. And it was Bryce Young, Bryce Young, Bryce Young. There was no football played. What changed? I think what changed was word came down from David Tepper. Hey, we will be, it's like the movie Draft Day. If you ever seen the movie Draft Day, Bryce Young, no matter what. That's what it felt like. And now the Panthers are going to suffer the consequences of this because they have an owner with his hands in the pot when he shouldn't be orchestrating the football people to do their football job. He's a businessman. He's not a coach. He's not a GM. He should not be telling people what to do. But this is the situation we find ourselves in. I would be surprised if the Panthers get more than 3 wins at this point. I really would. The schedule is not promising for the rest of the year. You're listening to The Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. Stay with us. Still a lot of show to go. Update from the Michigan scandal on the other side of the break. Be right back.
Keep it right here. There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way from the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Black Powder Coffee is celebrating their 10th anniversary with a medium dark roast blend of Indonesian and South American coffee beans. Enjoy the full-bodied natural flavor notes of chocolate with a bright finish. Get Black Powder Coffee's new anniversary blend today at Black Powder Coffee, 261 Rolling Hill Road, Mooresville, or participating retailers everywhere. Black Powder Coffee.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Cloudy skies through the remainder of the evening. The overnight low is going to be a little bit chillier tonight. We'll get down around 45 degrees. Saturday is Veterans Day, and we'll have cloudy skies and a high temperature getting up near 59 degrees, so make sure you get out there and enjoy the day. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
In today's world, hard workers are hard to come by. But luckily, for the ones around here, Nelson Royal's work and Western wear has you covered. From head to toe, trusted brands like Ariat, Durango, Wrangler, Carhartt, and more. Nelson Royal's work and Western wear has been helping the hard workers of Mooresville since 1967. Stop by Nelson Royal's today. In the heart of Mooresville, Highway 150, just look for the Giant Horse or browse the full inventory at nelsonroyals.com.
In life, we plan for many important things. Weddings, our children's education, retirement. A celebration of life is really no different. Planning and paying for your life celebration in advance will give you and your family valuable peace of mind. We'll help you take care of every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Lynn Honeycutt Funeral Home. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
This is a true, sad story for ADT, the leader in home security systems. My favorite dog, Oliver, was stolen from our garage recently. If I had a camera system installed in my home from ADT, I would have known exactly what car possibly pulled up in my driveway and stole my little friend. If I had a security system from ADT, my dog would still be here. I called ADT this weekend, and they're coming out in a few days to install a camera and a new security system. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for me. Listen, protect everyone you love in your family. Call ADT now. Have them come out and give you a quote to install a full security system in your home. Don't let it be too late for you. Call right now.
Paid for by the Home Security Hotline. 800-561-6198. 800-561-6198. 800-561.
Thomas Brown is in his first season as Panthers offensive coordinator, now a couple of games in as the lead play caller, and he'll share some of his philosophies coming up. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
Great play. Let's roll back the replay. Panthers mascot Sir Purr is on the Bank of America app.
He can't keep his paws off that phone.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive, Carolina Panthers fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can'tstopbanking.
You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Thomas Brown spent the last 3 seasons at...
Bryce, what's your level of frustration at this?
Frustrating situation to be in. It's not who we are.
What are your thoughts on the team right now?
Yeah, we're all
to the next month or next week or next few games.
With the Rams, a 3 wide receiver set was a big part of their base offense and something he likes to continue implementing here.
I think it varies depending on how your team is built and the personnel. Obviously, where I came from, if you watch those games, those 3 receivers for the most part played the whole game, and there was no variation in personnel groupings when it comes to 12 and 13. So I think it's more based on less about our experiences in the past and more about who gives the best opportunity to continue to stay in the rhythm of the game. And if those guys are playing well and fresh, there's really no need in sometimes to sub guys out.
I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
Now, more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, we are back here, segment number 3 on the Scoreboard. It is Friday. Are you looking forward to this weekend? It's an interesting one. We got no Panthers again this weekend because we just had it yesterday. We'll continue a little bit of NFL talk here, but also no NASCAR. What in the world is that about? It's weird when there's no NASCAR going on in the world because it feels like it's all year long. I mean, it's like 10 months out of the year, but still, it's weird. 704-873-1400 is the phone number to call in if you have something you'd like to talk about. Panthers fall last night 16-13 to the Chicago Bears. A very, very entertaining Thursday night football game. Panthers gain a season-low 224 total yards of offense, 180 of that passing, 40 of it coming on, one play. Rushing for only 44 yards. Third down conversion was 5 of 14, and sacked six times. What else can we say about this? There's really nothing else to say, really. Let's hear from Bryce Young on how frustrating it is to be in this position. Do we have that one loaded up? I thought I had that one loaded up and ready to go. Maybe not. Maybe we don't have that one loaded up and ready to go. Here it is. Here we go. Bryce Young.
Frustrating situation to be in. It's not who we are, not who we want to be, but that's what we are. We put on tape. We are. We put in the field, and we have to be better. Our defense, ball, great game, start to finish. We have to be better. I have to be better first and foremost. I have to be a lot better. So we have to be better. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And that's not me. That's not just me. That's everyone. We're competitors. Losing is frustrating.
And that's Bryce Young on, I guess, what he would describe as a frustrating situation to be in. I don't know. Is he frustrated or is he not frustrated? I couldn't really tell from that interview, And, he gave the typical quarterback speak of, I have to be better. Starts with me. Yeah, you do. You have to be a little bit better here. As the number 1 overall pick, you should be able to make up for the things that your team is lacking. Like, you don't have a good offensive line, be a little bit mobile. Feel the pocket correctly. That is something a number 1 pick would do, right? Or am I expecting too much from Bryce Young? Because remember, this is a Panthers team that wasn't that bad last year. Fighting for the playoffs right until the end, 7-10. 7-10. The Panthers were 7-10 last year. And now they sit at 1-8. If the season ended today, they would have the number 1 overall pick. Psych, they gave it to the Bears. Incredibly frustrating, as Bryce Young put it so eloquently. It is frustrating. College football, we have some news. It's Friday, and every now and then I talk about a Friday news dump, where late on a Friday, because they don't want any of the people who are important to talk about it, like ESPN, all those big markets. There's an update with Michigan and the investigation going on against scouting and stealing signs. The Big Ten has banned Michigan's Jim Harbaugh from the sideline for 3 games or the remainder of the regular season. Tomorrow at noon, Michigan plays Penn State. At Penn State. Penn State, the number 9 ranked team in the league. I don't know if Harbaugh's going to be there. I know he got banned, but the school, Michigan, is seeking a TRO, which will allow Harbaugh to coach on Sunday, or on Saturday, I mean. Look, I don't like what the Big Ten's doing here. The NCAA has said time and time again, it is an ongoing investigation. There should be no punishment handed down until after the NCAA concludes something. And the NCAA is, if they say, yep, this is legit, they'll probably do something like forfeit wins, which I guess is important, but not really. Whatever. The season will probably be over by time that's done. But if the temporary restraining order, TRO, is granted to Michigan, Harbaugh will be allowed to coach on Saturday, and it'll delay the process here. A judge is going to be deciding whether or not Harbaugh is going to be coaching. And if I were a betting person, although Justin Kazepis thinks I am definitely not a betting person. But if I was a betting person, I would bet on Harbaugh being there on Saturday. I know I've been wrong quite a bit, so he's definitely not going to be there, right? But I think that they're going to grant this specifically because of the NCAA investigation. Now, the Big Ten can do their own investigation and whatever. I just find it funny that they're going to get a decision and have this thing wrapped up before the NCAA does. Like I said yesterday, the NCAA works just as fast as the U.S. government. Oh, I'm sure that one landed well. But this is big. This has big implications. And look, if this gets upheld in the offseason and he ends up getting that suspension, I wonder if Harbaugh jumps ship and says, you know what, I'm going back to the NFL. There's going to be openings. There's probably going to be an opening right here in Charlotte with the Panthers. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see out of Harbaugh here is the suspension getting postponed until the offseason or something like that. And then they'll say, all right, you're banned for 3 games in the regular season. Or he's just going to leave. 704-873-1400. Let me know what you think about the situation going on right now in college football. Some pretty good games this week in college football. Let's go ahead and talk about some of those. Obviously, the big one that I just mentioned, Michigan taking on Penn State. All eyes are going to be on that one. Then at 3:30, you have Utah taking on number 5 Washington. Washington licking their chops right now because without Harbaugh on the sideline, Michigan, the number 3 team in the nation, will they fall? Will Washington be able to sneak their way into the college football playoffs? Maybe so. Number 13, Tennessee, and number 14, Missouri will go after it. That's a good game right there. Number 9, Ole Miss, and number 2, Georgia. This is the one that I have my eyes on. Georgia has not really impressed me the last few weeks. Slow starts, not blowing out opponents that they should blow out. I could see an upset here. And boy, would that shake up the college football playoffs. Duke takes on North Carolina, that game at 8 o'clock, and then USC and Oregon, although not juicy in terms of rankings, just the fact that number 6 Oregon is going to be playing USC. Caleb Williams, probably going to be the number 1 overall pick, generational talent. His defense around him is terrible, but he's having a great year. That's what everybody will be watching. One more segment here on the scoreboard, and then we'll head into the weekend. Don't go anywhere. You're listening on WSIC 1059, 100.7 FM. Be right back.
There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on the new 1059 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Santa is coming to town. Come out to Birkdale Village from 2 to 7 p.m. next Saturday, the 18th. Activity Row, Birkdale on Ice, Beer Garden, dance performances, and the tree lighting parade. Dance away the end of the night with live music. Saturday, November 18th. The fun begins at 2 p.m. and the tree lighting ceremony starts at 6. For more info, visit birkdalevillage.com. Love bingo? $1 bingos this Friday starting at 1:30 at the Iredale Senior Center. That's at 344 East Front Street. Bring $1 and your own snacks to play. $1 bingo this Friday, 1:30 to 3:30, Iredale Senior Center. Ever wanted to witness a time capsule installation? Huntersville is having a special time capsule installation December 2nd at Veterans Park during their Huntersville Christmas celebration. I wonder what will be in the time capsule. Make plans to attend now. Visit huntersville.org for more info. December 2nd, a special time capsule installation in Huntersville. Singer-songwriter Mitch Russell is coming to Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. You may know Mitch from America's Got Talent or from Garth Brooks' 2022 Stadium Tour. Buy your tickets before they sell out. kanearts.org. Country music artist Mitch Russell this Saturday. Doors open at 7 p.m. kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Cloudy skies through the remainder of the evening. The overnight low is going to be a little bit chillier tonight. We'll get down around 45 degrees. Saturday is Veterans Day, and we'll have cloudy skies and a high temperature getting up near 59 degrees, so make sure you get out there and enjoy the day. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Hey folks, Justin Kazepis, owner of WSIC and host of Good Morning LKN. Terminix has been locally owned and operated in the Carolinas for more than 75 years. WSIC trusts Terminix for pest control, and you should too. Visit trustterminix.com to get started today.
Have your say.
Trusting the government to fix anything is a joke.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't even trust the banks with our money.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on the new 1059 100.7 WSIC.
All right. It is Friday. Not much time left in the week. It's already dark out. Have I mentioned that I love when it gets dark out early? 5 o'clock rolls around, the sun better be down. Darkness. I like it. 704-873-1400. Got a little bit of time left. Got about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. If you want to get something in, give me a call. We'll talk about it. Sports, are you upset with the Carolina Panthers? Look, I'm just as upset as the next person with the Carolina Panthers. They do not look good. And I expect a shakeup coming in the offseason. Just got this here in regards to the Michigan situation. There was a 13-page letter sent to Michigan to Athletic Director Ward Manuel. Friday news dump, man. This came out at about 6 o'clock by ESPN. I haven't had time to read it, obviously, because at 6:10 I was on the air, but I'm sure it's going to say that they violated the sportsmanship policy for the Big Ten or whatever not real document they want to point to. And I don't know where this ends up. I don't know if we see fallout from this. I don't know if Michigan's going to continue to try to throw other schools under the bus and make everything equal, but, it is possible. But we'll continue to track it. Let's talk about the NHL real quick because the Carolina Panthers are looking good, and they have a game tonight, 7 o'clock. So in about 10 minutes, they will be taking on the Florida Panthers, who represented the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Look, Carolina, like I said yesterday, has had a very good start to the year. And I don't want to try and put a damper on that because it's good what happened. They started strong. But right now what's happening is not good. Their starting goaltender is hurt, blood clots, and we're not sure when he's going to be back. We signed Yaroslav Halak off of the streets. I know you probably know that name, but he's like 38 years old at this point. Peter Kochetkov looks like he's going to be the guy because I don't think that the Hurricanes want to put Antti Ranta as their starting goaltender, but I'm going to continue to harp on this. The same way I've harped on this for the past 4 years now, it feels like. When are the Hurricanes going to think about going to get a real goaltender, like a real, true number one goalie? Goalies move around. It happens. It's not like a quarterback in the NFL where, man, if you got one, you better hold on to him. And goaltenders can have ebbs and flows in their game. And 1 year, they're Vezina Trophy finalist for the best goaltender in the league. And the next year, they're getting chased out of 20% of their starts. It happens. But Freddie Anderson isn't either of those. He's just kind of there. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to get where the Hurricanes want to get. And that's the Stanley Cup. Haven't won an Eastern Conference final. What are they, 0-12 in their last 12 games? 3 series, they've been swept in the conference finals. Terrible. And it doesn't come down. Last year, we'll chalk last year up to injuries, okay? I understand. The injury bug got them, especially late in the year, and they were really no match for Florida at that point because they just couldn't get out of their own way. But this year, forward core's healthy, defense rejuvenated, goaltender still old, and it's not bad to have an old goaltender in the NHL. It's kind of like NASCAR where, like, in your 30s, you're really good as a goaltender, like late 20s, early 30s is when you're in your prime, I guess. Kind of like NASCAR, but Freddie Anderson is not it. And Yaroslav Halak is not going to be it. So we look forward, if we're Hurricane fans. We look forward to March when we get to the trade deadline and people are getting moved like crazy. The NHL, we're going to get to go through an NHL trade deadline together, which is going to be a lot of fun because it's so much better than the NFL. I mean, the NFL deadline is just boring. We just had it. What really happened? Can you give me a big trade, a big blockbuster? Josh Dobbs to the Vikings. That was the blockbuster. I'm not even going to talk about Montez Sweat going to the Bears because it's the Bears. Chase Young going to the Niners. Chase Young's always hurt. But in the NHL, it seems like everybody's wanting to trade. So maybe, just maybe, the Hurricanes will decide, hey, let's go finally get ourselves a real goaltender. Because it is possible. They might have to pay a steep price for it, but these players, they do move around. I do want to give a general NHL update just because, it's going on and I feel like we should all know what's going on in the league. Right now, the worst team in the NHL, by not even a slim margin, by a bad margin, the San Jose Sharks and the Edmonton Oilers. Those two teams look terrible. 5 points in 12 games, 13 for San Jose, 12 for Edmonton. Edmonton in the playoffs last year. Connor McDavid plays on Edmonton. Connor McDavid put up a 150-point season last year. It's disgraceful what's going on there. Here's my beef with the NHL. And yes, I know what you're thinking. I do have beef with the NHL. Connor McDavid is the best player in hockey. He is incredible. Last year, 64 goals, 89 assists, 153 points. Numbers that we haven't seen since like the 90s. Do you know who Connor McDavid is? If you're not a passionate hockey fan, you've probably heard the name. Do you know what team he plays for? I just said it. He plays for the Edmonton Oilers. Have you seen him marketed? I haven't. Wednesday night rivalry in the NHL is supposed to be big. Do they put McDavid on there a lot? No, unless they're playing Calgary, no, and you have to really know about the NHL to know what that is. The general public should know who the superstars of your league are. People know who Patrick Mahomes is. People know who LeBron James is. People know names like Bryce Harper in the MLB. Aaron Judge. People know that. Normal people know those names. Does anybody know Connor McDavid? How about David Pastrnak? No? Artemi Panarin? No? Not ringing any bells? That is my beef with the NHL right there. Where is the marketing of the players? Why does the general public not understand who these people are? The game is great. The NHL is in a very good spot right now. The game is good. The skill is insane. Some of the things that these guys can do with a stick and a puck is just on a different level. And nobody knows about it. NASCAR is having that problem. And I don't want to talk NASCAR because we just spent an entire season talking about it. But they also can't market their drivers. Why do you think this year's championship was the least watched in the last 5 years? Because nobody knows who these drivers are. William Byron? Who's that? Ryan Blaney? Christopher Bell? Who's that guy? You know what NASCAR does market? Ryan Newman getting hit in the A-post at Daytona. Ryan Preece flying through the air on the backstretch. Ross Chastain going 150 miles an hour along the wall. Not even legal anymore. That's what they market. You see the commercials for NASCAR? It's crashes. It's things that they've outlawed. It's ridiculous. What are the advertisements for hockey? It's just highlights. I mean, they're just showing you one thing with a whole bunch of editing on it. The NFL doesn't really need to try to do that anymore. They are so entwined in the mainstream media. Like Travis Kelce, man, if Taylor Swift started dating a hockey player, that'd be the best thing to happen to hockey. It's the best thing that happened to the NFL. Look at all the marketing they're getting out of it. Look at all the free publicity. People, the demographic of females from the age 13 to 18 just skyrocketed on the NFL's ratings because Taylor Swift is dating a player. Market, maybe, just a little bit. It would be nice. We're running out of time here. I don't want to take up too much of my outro time. You're listening to The Scoreboard here on WSIC, 105.9, 100.7 FM. It was a fun week. We'll do it again next week. Have a good one, everyone. I'll see you then. And enjoy high school football playoffs going on tonight. We'll recap it on Monday. See ya.
1059, 100.7 WSIC, Statesville. More